So now let's talk about the certification. So those folks who are preparing for CCBA, you need to have a minimum of 3,750 hours in the last 7 years. So when you're submitting your application, I would recommend you to don't calculate. So ideally, when you fill the form, right? So I'll just open the notepad. So there is no check that like of how many hours you worked and everything. So there will be 6 knowledge areas like KA1, KA2 like that. So in the application form, what you'll have to do is that like for in case of uh, CCBA, what you can do is like you can choose any 4 knowledge areas, and then you can populate it as like some 900 hours, and one knowledge area you can populate 1000 hours, and this one is another 900 hours. So there is not going to be any validation as such, like how did you arrive 900 hours for this knowledge area. So they are not going to check that. Rather, you just need to put some hours for each of the knowledge areas. So those they have mentioned it as 3,750 hours. I would recommend you to go with some 4,000 hours as such. And how do you do the hours calculation? So the expectation is that 8 hours per day, and there are 20 working days, so it will be close to 160 hours per month. So 160 into 12, you will have to do the calculation, and maybe 20% of it will go for your annual vacation or maybe the non-BA work. So you will have to do that rough calculation. So roughly around I believe it will be 1,200 hours per year. So with 4 years of experience, you will have close to 4,800 hours. And for those CCBA, CBAP folks with 6 years of experience, maybe 6+ years of experience, your application is safe, because with 6 years of experience, you can easily show more than 7,200 hours of experience. And when you're filling the application form, you'll have to be careful, because when you're filling the application, at least in 2 knowledge areas, you will have to go with the condition that like you will have to enter more than 1,000 hours. Or maybe what you can do is like you can take any 4 knowledge areas and you can enter some 600 hours in all the 4 knowledge areas. So this you will have to be careful. It's not that like there are few folks, what they do is like I primarily worked on only 2 knowledge areas, and then they will put 2,000 hours in it, and they will submit the application. In that case, their application would get rejected. So you should know that like you will have to put a minimum hours in at least 2 of the knowledge areas. Some 900 hours should be minimum there. Or what you can do is like you can put a minimum of 500 hours in 4 knowledge areas. And then as part of your training history, IABA definitely wants you to update your training details. So you can reach out to Brijesh, and Brijesh will give you the details about the training program and the training contact details. So 21 hours of training is more than enough for CCBA, but for CBAP it is 35 hours. So that's why if you can see, it is a 7-week course, and if it is 2 hours per week, so altogether it counts to 35 hours. And you will have to provide references. So references can be somebody who your current supervisor, your project manager, they all can be your references. Or in some cases, you can also give somebody who has completed their CBAP. They can also be your references. So maybe in your application, if you are looking for any references, you can even give my details. I can give you my name and email ID. So I can also be one of your references as part of your application. So this is the eligibility criteria for CCBA, and for CBAP, it is like minimum of 7,500 hours. So on a safer side, when you submit the application, please put around 8,000 or 8,100 hours. And when you're and similarly there, it was 900 hours for 2 knowledge areas, but here it is 900 hours for 4 knowledge areas. And you must have completed 35 hours. So this training program would qualify for that. And you will have to provide 2 references. So one reference should be from your current project, your supervisor, and the other reference can be a CBAP recipient.
So Abhishek, one question. So the audits which are placed, how frequently are the audits on application process?
Yeah, 1 in 10 application goes for audit. So rest 90% of the application automatically gets approved. But if our luck is against us, then one application will go for an audit. So in that case, whenever you're submitting any work episode, for instance, if you have worked in 3 organizations and you have given the contact of all the 3 organization, your supervisor's contacts, right? So IABA will send out an email to all those 3 folks, and ideally for those folks who are working in Canada or US, IABA, instead of sending emails, they will directly call those folks and they will talk to them. So for those folks who are in other continents like India, Europe, so IABA normally sends an email asking for like this application was submitted. Do you know this person personally, professionally? Did they do the real BA work? So those kind of questionnaire will hit their mailbox and they will have to reply to it. So based on their response, IABA will take a decision.
Okay, and they might validate on the number of hours that we have
No, they will not validate on the number of hours. Rather, they will just ask that concerned supervisor that like, did she do the BA work? They will not show them the hours or no. They will just ask whether was she part of the knowledge area solution evaluation? Did she work on the knowledge area RAPM? Those kind of things. So this is the certification cost involved. So what you can do is like, if you choose Canada, I guess you will have to pay $125. Rather, you can choose your region as India. So in that case, it will be only $55. And location doesn't matter while submitting the application.
Okay.
So when you when you take a membership, like do we need to select? Can we select?
You will have to choose
India?
your country of origin. So if your country of origin, if you choose Canada, I heard that like it comes around $85 or $125. But if you choose
$125.
Yeah, it is more in Canada, right?
So it's better to go with country of origin as India. So in that case, you're saving some $70, right?
Yes, but like exam when comes to exam.
No, that
point of
doesn't
view,
matter because
doesn't
those
matter.
folks in the previous batch also, we have folks from Canada who went with that option only. So that doesn't matter. They're not going to check. You can give the exam in Canada. That you can choose.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so ideally, the first step towards the certification is that like you will have to become an IABA member. And IABA membership fees, it differs from place to place. So that is the first step. You will have to become an IABA member, and then you will have to log into the IABA website, and then you will have to submit your application. The application fees is close to $125. And once you submit your application, and if it gets approved, the validity is for a year. That is within that 1 year, any time you can go and give your examination. So once you submit your application fee, once it is approved, within 1 year, you can give your examination. And if you're a member, then ideally till December 2019, we didn't have this option of giving the examination from the comfort of our home. We need to visit a Prometric center. But from 2020 Jan onwards, they started introducing this proctored examination model, wherein you need not go to a test center, rather from the comfort of your home. I mean, you can open your laptop and you can give the examination. It's just that like at the other end, there'll be somebody who will be monitoring you closely. So the exam fees is close to $325. So my recommendation is that like, please don't go for that proctored examination because you don't get that actual feel of examination. My recommendation is that like once this COVID issue is like controlled, I would recommend you to go to the test center and give the examination, because once you go to the test center, you get a feel that like you're going to give an examination and you will be quite serious, and that also works psychologically. So if you count the total expenses, close to $500 plus the the amount for your training. So that is the total expenses that are related to the certification. So this is related to the, ideally this is, when you're preparing for your CCB or CBAP, this is something which you will have to be like very much focused about, that like all the questions will come from the knowledge areas plus technique. And if you can see from this slide, right, ideally most of the questions for CCBA, close to 32% of the questions will come from this chapter, which is RADD. That is like close to 40 questions you can expect from that chapter. So when we apply the Pareto principle, you will have to be very careful that like you cannot see, unlike other exams, out of 6 knowledge areas, there are few folks who will concentrate on the first four knowledge areas and they will skip reading the other 2 knowledge areas. But that strategy would not work in IABA. In IABA, if there are 15 questions, you need to get at least 10 questions correct in all the knowledge areas. Only then you will be able to pass. Even if you score even if you score less than 50% in any of the knowledge areas, then in that case they will not allow you. Your result will be like you will not be able to clear the examination. So minimum you will have to score 60% in all the 6 knowledge areas. So they haven't released the official data like what is the pass percentage, what is the total number of questions you have to get it correct. But from what we could infer from those folks who have cleared the examination, it is quite evident that like in all the knowledge areas, minimum 50% to 60% of the questions should be correct. So if you're not getting 50 to 60% questions, I mean, ideally, if you're not able to clear that cutoff, then in that case, you will not be able to clear the certification. So this is the percentage wise like the question. So average 15 to 20 questions from each of the knowledge area, but special focus is on requirement analysis and design definition. Similarly for CBAP folks, the same thing, the special focus is on requirement analysis and design definition. We have close to 36 questions, and even other knowledge areas, it is on average 15 to 20 questions. So CCBA, you have the duration is 3 hours and the total number of questions is 130, and CBAP, the duration is 3.5 hours and number of questions is 120. The primary difference between CCBA and CBAP is CCBA is quite easy because it will be a direct question from the BEBOK, more of like choose the following, fill in the blanks, those kind of questions you get it. But CBAP, direct questions will be only 30 to 40%. Rest 60%, 50 to 60% of the questions will be case based. So case based, what they'll give is like they'll give you some paragraph. They will give you a scenario that is like John is working as a business analyst. John is doing this, and everything. They'll give you a scenario, and then they will ask you to choose what is the right option as per BEBOK, what you have learned, what would be the right action which John has to do in that scenario. So they mostly 50% of the questions in CBAP will be scenario based questions, and CCBA is quite very easy, wherein it will be everything. They will ask you the definitions. They will ask you what is the input of this task, what is the output of this task. So those all things, it will be quite direct from CCBA. And to be candid, I completed my CCBA within 2 hours and CBAP within same 2 hours. So I mean, ideally, there is no question of like whether 3 hours sufficient or 3.5 hours sufficient. There are many folks who have reported that they have completed it within 2.5 hours itself. So rest 1 hour, what you can do is like you can go and review all your answers. So there is no question about like whether the time is sufficient. It's like adequately sufficient. So exam preparation tips, I'm again repeating, BEBOK is the only book which you will have to refer, and you can also refer the BEBOK guide, which is part of the TechEdge portal. And I would recommend you all to put a timetable, because next 1 month we'll have this training series for 7 weekends. But I would recommend you to like put some targets that like I will complete this knowledge area by this time. So ideally, my recommendation is that like whenever we are completing that knowledge area, please start reading that knowledge area the same week, because if you are like postponing it, there are high chances wherein you will forget it. And I'm putting a disclaimer now itself. BEBOK is quite a dry read. So when you start reading BEBOK, there are high chances you will feel disconnected or you will feel demotivated that like that content, because the content in BEBOK, it's like very dry, and you will see the same word, stakeholders, project getting repeated at least some 30-40 times in a single knowledge area. So high chances wherein you will feel demotivated and everything. So my suggestion is that after we discuss each of the knowledge areas, I would recommend you to go and visualize. So when you read the knowledge area in BEBOK, I want you to visualize and imagine that like whatever that is mentioned in the BEBOK, you're trying to implement in your current project. So that strategy which I employed, because even when I started reading BEBOK initially, I felt bored because I wasted my 2-3 weeks of my time simply by wasting my time reading BEBOK, because at the end of the day, after 3 weeks, still I was not able to recollect most of the concepts. So then I had to change my strategy to visualization. So whenever I was reading any knowledge area, I started visualizing. So by visualization, I mean that like whatever is mentioned, any technique is mentioned in BEBOK, I'll imagine that in my current project, I'm implementing that technique. So that strategy worked for me. And when I checked with other folks also, they also did this task. So in that case, during the examination, it was easy for me to recall. And there is no other go. In so many places, you will have to mug up. So ideally, you will have to mug up. You will have to memorize all the input, output, and techniques. So There is no other go because most of the questions will be like direct question. What is the input of this task? So in that case, only when you memorize all the inputs and outputs of all the 6 knowledge areas, it will help you. So there is no other goes. You will have to mug up all the inputs and output of all the 6 knowledge areas. And sometimes you may also have to use some keywords. For instance, if there is like specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bounded. So you will have to remember the mnemonic as SMART. So many places you will have to use those mnemonics for all the key terms. And you will have to enroll for mock exams which are closely related to the IABA standard. I'm recommending, I told you about the Tech Canvas Edge portal. So we have 2 mock, so close to 240 questions, similar to that of IABA standards. I believe that is more than sufficient. If you're scoring around 60 to 70%, that means you can go ahead and you can give the actual exam. If you're scoring less than 60%, then in that case, you will have to go back and read and try to aim for 60% plus. So if you're scoring more than 60, 70, then you can go ahead and book your examination. And don't spend more than 2 minutes for each question, and never leave a question unanswered. For case-based question, make use of the highlight feature for key terms. So this is what the plan which I had come up with. So a 10-week preparation for both CCB and CBAP. So first week you will have to check about the eligibility, gather all the sufficient resources. And week 2 to 4 you're starting with your training. And similarly, based on the training, you're also starting with your BEBOK preparation, each of the knowledge area. And 6th week you're giving a mock exam. And 7th week you're trying to find out. Definitely in the first mock exam, you will get a feel of the type of questions which IABA asks. So once you give the test, once you analyze the results, try to find out your areas of improvement. And 7th week, you are identifying all the key areas of improvement. And week 8 and 9, you're doing the final revision. That is like based on your mock exam results, you are analyzing all the key knowledge areas, and you're finding out like whichever knowledge area which you will have to be adapted, you're focusing on all that. And in the week 10, you're giving the examination and finally basking in the glory. So ideally this is a 10-week plan. And to be candid, I believe there is no holy grail strategy in order to clear the examination, because there are folks who cleared it within 3 days, 4 days also. There are folks who cleared it within a year. Few folks took it even, they cleared within 2 years also. So based on your intellectual capacity and based on your work commitments, because the primary villain for our certification preparation will be our work commitments. So in case if you're going through a busy schedule, then obviously you cannot devote your time towards the preparation. So ideally, what you see here is something which I thought maybe a 10-week plan, but based on your work commitments and everything, you can either complete it within 2-3 weeks, or maybe you can extend it for 3-4 months also. So this is my exam experience. So this is CBAP exam experience. So I out of 120 questions, close to 60 questions were like scenario based questions for me, and 10 plus questions I could see that it was calculation based. By calculation based, they will give you an online calculator, and it is more of like some average, percentage, and those basic elementary mathematics. It was not that tough. And for every option you will get, for every question you will have 4 options, and 2 of the options, short you will be able to eliminate it, and you will have to take a educated guess between the other 2 options. So 4 options, minimum 2 options you can easily eliminate it because they'll be out of the context. Another 2 you will have to do an educated guess and choose the right answer. And sometimes what I felt is that like case study, sometimes it will be for 3 or 4 pages. So they will give you some 8 or 10 paragraphs. So what you can do is like you can, there is an option for flag it for later. You can choose those options, you can skip those options, and you can come back to them at the later stage. So my recommendation is that like whenever you see any case study that is 4 or 5 pages long, you can just ignore it for the time in order to complete all the easiest questions. You can target all the easiest questions, and later whenever you have time you can come back and finish it. There is no negative marking as such, but if you are not giving any answer for any option, that may impact your score. That is what I got to know. There is no negative score as such, but if you're not giving if you're not choosing an option for the question, that may impact your score. So the other I had set a target of 50 questions per hour, and last 30 minutes I went through, I did a complete review of all the options, and I also did a brain dump before the examination. So what I did is like I went to the test center, and I told you, right, there is no other go. You will have to mug up all the inputs of in all the input output of all the 6 knowledge areas, all the tasks. So what I did is like I started writing it down everywhere. So earlier it was taking me 30 minutes to write down all the inputs and outputs. So more I practiced, I gradually reduced that time to 10-15 minutes. And on the day of the test center, the very moment when you go into the test center, they give you a writing pad and a pen. And the first 15 minutes, there is some demo exam that is sponsored by the Prometric in order to help you understand the controls in that page. So what I did is that like I clicked on that Prometric so that I get 15 minutes of time. And during that 15 minutes, what I did is I did a brain dump. So whatever I have mugged up, I started writing it down in the writing pad which they provided. So within 15 minutes, I was able to write down all the 6 knowledge areas, all the key terms. And once the exam started, I started referring to that notepad, because for instance, it was quite easy for me, because knowledge area BAPM, what is the input? So I look into that writing pad, and it was easy for me to eliminate those options. So this is the strategy which I would recommend. So maybe during your preparation, or once you start giving the mock, if you're feeling that like you're not able to recollect most of the terms which you have not studied, so this is like one of the most working strategy. And this is something which I saw in those folks who have already cleared CBAP, even they employed the same strategy. So doing a brain dump before the examination is like one of the working strategies which I would recommend in order to clear your certification. And special focus should be given on your technique session. You need to know what can you accomplish as part of the technique. What do you do as part of the technique? Whether you're collecting any inputs. And technique session is also important for your job interview. So maybe if they are asking you what is the difference between brainstorming and focus group, you should be able to explain it. So this is how you get the result. So there is no, you will not get to know the score. You will not get to know that like 120 questions, how many questions you got it correct, no percentage, nothing as like that. So all you get to see is all the 6 knowledge areas. And if you have scored more than 80%, then your score will be higher. If you score 60 to 80%, your score will be comparable. And if you score less than 50%, your score will be lower. If you score lower, if you're scoring less than 50% in any 2 knowledge areas, then you will have to reattempt the examination. So as you can see, this candidate score was lower in knowledge area 4, but he made up since he was comparable in other knowledge areas. So then he was able to clear the certification. So there is no shortcut for the IB examination. Pay special attention to all the 6 knowledge areas, because every knowledge area matters. Any open questions, folks?